Wang Yibo Xiao Zhan. It was supposed to be nothing. Just a tiny moment. A glance that lasted barely a second. A movement so small that most people would have missed it completely. But somehow, that tiny detail became the center of a conversation nobody seemed ready to end. The video was short. There was no dramatic announcement. No shocking confession. No carefully prepared speech. Just Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan appearing in the same moment, surrounded by cameras, noise, flashing lights, and the usual chaos that comes whenever two enormously recognizable stars find themselves under the same spotlight. And then it happened. Xiao Zhan turned slightly. Wang Yibo noticed. For a fraction of a second, their expressions changed. That was it. At least, that was what it looked like. But the internet had other ideas. Within hours, people were replaying the footage. Once. Twice. 10 times. Then in slow motion. Then frame by frame. Someone zoomed in. Someone increased the brightness. Someone placed the original clip beside an older video. Another person noticed a completely different detail in the background. And suddenly, what had looked like an ordinary moment began to feel like a puzzle. Nobody could agree on what the little detail meant. But everybody had an opinion. And that was when the conversation exploded. The moment nobody expected. The fictional scene begins in the middle of a crowded entertainment event. The room was already loud before the cameras started rolling. Music echoed through the venue. Celebrities moved between photographers. Fans held their phones high, desperately trying to capture even one perfect image. Every few seconds, another camera flashed. Wang Yibo stood among the guests, maintaining the calm expression people had become accustomed to seeing. Across the area was Xiao Zhan. Neither appeared to be doing anything unusual. There was no dramatic interaction. No obvious exchange. Nothing that would normally become tomorrow's headline. Then Xiao Zhan shifted his position. It was subtle. Almost meaningless. But Wang Yibo's eyes moved in the same direction. 1 second. Perhaps less. The camera captured it. And because the camera captured it, the moment survived. That tiny movement would eventually become the subject of thousands of comments. At first, nobody cared. The clip was simply another piece of footage from a busy event. Then somebody posted it with a strange question. Did anyone else notice that? That sentence changed everything. Wait. Did you see that? The comments began slowly. One person asked what everyone was talking about. Another replied that Wang Yibo appeared to react when Xiao Zhan moved. A third person disagreed. You're reading too much into it. Then somebody uploaded a slowed-down version. Suddenly, the tiny movement became much easier to see. People began arguing. Some insisted it was completely normal. Others claimed there was something unusual about the timing. The debate became bigger than the original clip. And that is one of the strangest things about internet culture. Sometimes the mystery becomes more powerful than the moment itself. The original footage lasted seconds. The conversation lasted for hours. Then days. And in this fictional story, the conversation eventually crossed into something nobody had anticipated. People began comparing the moment with old footage. Not because anyone had proof of a hidden meaning, but because curiosity had taken over. One old clip showed them standing several feet apart. Another showed them passing each other backstage. Another contained an almost identical movement. Different year. Different setting. Different clothes. Different circumstances. Yet the same tiny detail appeared again. A glance. A pause. A slight change in expression. Nothing conclusive. But enough to make people wonder. The second video. Just when the conversation appeared to be fading, another video surfaced. This one was even shorter. And somehow, it was more mysterious. The footage showed a crowded backstage area. People were walking in every direction. Staff members were carrying equipment. Photographers were calling names. The environment was chaotic. Then Xiao Zhan entered the frame. A few moments later, Wang Yibo appeared. The two were not even standing directly beside each other. Yet at one particular moment, Wang Yibo seemed to turn his head. The clip ended almost immediately. That was enough. The internet erupted again. Why did he turn? Was he looking at him? Maybe it was nothing. Maybe. That final word became the fuel. Maybe. Maybe not. Nobody actually knew. And because nobody knew, everybody wanted to investigate. The frame that changed the conversation. Then came the frame. A fan captured a screenshot from the video. It showed Wang Yibo looking toward the other side of the room. Xiao Zhan was visible in the distance. The image itself was completely ordinary. But the caption wasn't. Look at the exact moment. Thousands of people opened the image. Some zoomed into Wang Yibo's face. Others looked at Xiao Zhan. Others ignored both of them and examined the people standing nearby. Someone noticed that a staff member appeared to react at almost the same time. Another person pointed out that the camera itself moved. Soon there were competing theories. And every theory created another question. The funny thing was that nobody had actually discovered anything definitive. Yet the uncertainty made the story more addictive. People weren't watching because they knew. They were watching because they didn't. The internet loves a mystery. There is something irresistible about a moment that refuses to explain itself. If someone openly says something, the audience can understand it. If someone makes a clear statement, people can agree or disagree. But when something happens for less than a second, that's different. The audience becomes part of the story. Every viewer becomes an investigator. Every replay becomes evidence. Every pause becomes suspicious. Every expression becomes a clue. And suddenly a harmless moment can become an enormous conversation. That was exactly what happened in this fictional story. The little detail had become bigger than the event itself. People who had never cared about the original footage were now searching for it. People who had already seen it were watching again. And people who believed there was nothing unusual were becoming curious simply because everyone else was discussing it. The question had changed. It was no longer, what happened? It became, why did everyone notice it? The silence became part of the story. Then something strange happened. Nobody involved explained the moment. No dramatic statement appeared. No official explanation came. Nothing. And the silence made the internet even louder. People began filling the empty space with theories. Some believed the moment was completely accidental. Others thought the camera had simply captured an ordinary interaction. Some suggested that fans were overanalyzing every movement. And others argued that overanalysis was exactly what made the moment fascinating. The more people disagreed, the more attention the clip received. The algorithm noticed. More people saw it. More people commented. More people created reaction videos. Then the reaction videos created reaction videos. A tiny moment had become an entire content ecosystem. Then someone found the old footage. At approximately the moment when the conversation should have disappeared, someone uploaded an older clip. The caption read, "This isn't the first time." That sentence immediately changed the mood. People clicked. The footage began. It showed another event from years earlier. Again, nothing dramatic. Again, Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan were surrounded by other people. Again, the moment lasted only seconds. But there was a similar movement. A glance. A pause. A subtle shift. The comments exploded. No way. I remember this. Look at the timing. Am I imagining this? Someone compare both clips. Within minutes, someone had done exactly that. The two videos were placed side by side. The comparison wasn't proof of anything. It didn't establish a secret. It didn't reveal some hidden truth. But visually, the similarities were enough to generate another wave of discussion. People began asking whether the latest moment had reminded them of the old one. Others argued that humans naturally repeat movements. The debate became endless. And that was precisely why it became irresistible. The comment that went viral. Then one comment appeared. It wasn't particularly complicated. It didn't contain evidence. It didn't make a huge accusation. It simply said, maybe the detail isn't important. Maybe what matters is why we all noticed it. That comment spread. Thousands of people began quoting it. The conversation suddenly became more reflective. Why had such a small moment attracted so much attention? Why did people replay it? Why did a fraction of a second feel more fascinating than an entire event? Perhaps because audiences had become accustomed to polished celebrity moments. Perfect photographs. Perfect interviews. Perfect answers. Perfect smiles. But occasionally, a camera catches something imperfect. Something spontaneous. Something nobody appears to have prepared. And those moments feel different. They feel human. The camera never blinked. In the fictional story, the most important character wasn't Wang Yibo. It wasn't Xiao Zhan. It was the camera. The camera had no opinion. It didn't interpret. It didn't speculate. It simply recorded. And when the footage was uploaded, millions of people became interpreters. That is how the smallest details can become enormous online. A camera captures 1 second. The internet creates a million interpretations. One person sees coincidence. Another sees familiarity. Another sees nothing. Another sees a meaningful reaction. And because everyone sees something different, nobody wants to stop watching. The fan who noticed the background. Just when the conversation seemed completely exhausted, another fan noticed something nobody had mentioned. It wasn't Wang Yibo. It wasn't Xiao Zhan. It was the background. Behind them stood several people. One person appeared to turn around at almost exactly the same moment. That discovery created another mystery. Was the movement connected? Or was it simply another coincidence? The debate restarted. People zoomed into the background. Someone enhanced the footage. Another person uploaded a version with arrows. Soon there were circles around tiny movements that most viewers would never have noticed without the annotations. The original 5-second clip had become a forensic investigation. And yet, underneath all the speculation, there remained one undeniable fact: nobody actually knew. When a moment becomes a symbol, the little detail eventually became something larger than itself. It represented nostalgia. For some fans, it reminded them of earlier years. For others, it represented the fascination surrounding two highly recognizable performers. For others, it was simply an entertaining mystery. Different people found different meanings in the same footage. And that may have been the most powerful part. The clip didn't tell the audience what to think. The audience told itself what the clip meant. The second wave. Then came the second wave. A major fan account reposted the clip. Within minutes, the engagement exploded. Another account reposted it with a completely different caption. Then another. Soon the same footage was appearing everywhere. Some versions had music. Some had dramatic sound effects. Some had subtitles. Some had slow motion. Some showed only the facial expressions. Some showed the entire scene. And every version created a slightly different interpretation. The original moment remained unchanged. But the story surrounding it kept evolving. What if we missed something? That question became the central theme. What if the important detail wasn't the glance? What if it was something happening immediately before it? Or immediately after? People started searching for longer versions of the footage. They wanted context. They wanted the complete sequence. They wanted to know what happened before the camera focused on them. They wanted to know what happened after. But the more they searched, the more fragments they discovered. A few seconds here. Another clip there. A photograph from another angle. A fan recording from the opposite side. Nothing definitive. But enough pieces to keep the mystery alive. The moment everyone started rewatching. Eventually, a creator uploaded a video titled, "I watched this 47 times and finally noticed something." The title was irresistible. People clicked. The creator replayed the footage. Then slowed it down. Then paused it. Then returned to normal speed. The supposed discovery was incredibly small. A change in posture. A brief glance. A slight movement of the head. Nothing that could establish a hidden story. But the audience loved it. Not because it proved anything, Because it gave them something to discuss. And discussion is the engine of virality. The argument got bigger. Soon, two camps emerged. One side said, "It's nothing." The other said, "Maybe. But why does it look so familiar?" Neither side could prove its position. That made the argument endless. Every comment attracted another comment. Every disagreement produced another video. Every video created another theory. And the tiny detail continued traveling. It had escaped the original event. It belonged to the internet now. The most unexpected reaction. Then came the moment nobody expected. A new piece of fictional footage appeared. It wasn't dramatic. There was no confrontation. No announcement. No shocking reveal. Just another ordinary scene. But this time, the audience noticed something else. Wang Yibo appeared to notice the camera. Xiao Zhan did the same. For a moment, both seemed aware that they were being filmed. The clip ended. And the comment section immediately exploded. They know. They definitely saw the camera. Or they're simply performers who noticed a camera. Again, there was no definitive answer. But by then, the audience had learned something important. They didn't need one. The mystery itself had become the entertainment. The story behind the story. At the center of everything was a simple truth. A tiny detail can become enormous when millions of people decide it matters. The detail doesn't have to be dramatic. It doesn't have to reveal a secret. It doesn't even have to mean anything beyond the moment itself. What gives it power is attention. One person notices. Another person shares. Another person reacts. Another person asks a question. Another person creates a video. Then thousands of people become curious.